if it's Friday and I'm in Michigan, you know I'm going to RPM Records. Last time we left off, after getting through A and B in Tim's 45 room, the wife came in and sort of shut us down, so we're gonna pick up where we left off with the letter C. But let's go in and say hello to Riley, Chase, Kurt, Tim, and even Leland. It's winter time, but that's not gonna defer me from checking out RPM Records. Let's go inside and see what's going on. Hopefully some good finds. What's up? What's going, Chase? What's up, guys?
Not bad.
I got back just in time to pick up where I left off with letter C.
There you go.
Remember, the wife came in last time,
Yeah.
and then I didn't have my wallet, and she had to pay.
I do remember
That little clip went viral, by the way. You were just laughing at the whole thing.
I was.
Yeah. So, all right, I might even get a mystery bag on the way out. All right, cool. Is Tim here?
He just left 10 hours.
Oh, okay. Tell him I said hello. All right, if you remember, the 45 room is the place to go. When you come here, Tim just left, but I'm gonna check a couple bins. I'll do a Bob Seger, probably Bob Dylan, and Talking Heads. Then I'm gonna pick up with letter C. So we'll see what we find. Looking for Northern Soul. I gotta go get my list. I might laugh, but this list has been invaluable. So starting out alphabetically from A to Z, because I get in these places and I get so wound up with adrenaline that I literally lose track and focus. So I'm going to start with letter C and work my way through these bins looking for Northern Soul. Let's check Bob Seger first, even though you would think he would be in the B's. Tim does everything by last name here. And 99% of these I'm going to have, but I'm always looking for an old 2+2 is on my mind, or something even earlier like Noah or East Side Story. I think was an early one. These later Capitol releases were when Seger just got huge, and I have them all, unless I get something really weird with a weird picture sleeve, but for the most part, you get the drift. Shakedown, you know, he was doing stuff for Beverly Hills Cop. That was the movie with Eddie Murphy, and he was supposed to be like a cop from Detroit that got transplanted in Hollywood or Beverly Hills. So the Seger was a natural fit. I've got this. It's a good song. I wonder who wrote that. Trying to live my life without you. Eugene Williams. Okay. I knew it was a cover. And I give credit to Seger for covering it. But I'm in Michigan. And yeah, I'm going to look up some Bob Seger. Detroit Bob in more than one ways. Actually, Bob was, I think, raised in Ann Arbor. Bob Seger, that is. And probably born in Detroit. Teacher's Soundtrack. Great song, but, you know, just not something that screams by me. And of course, I got a lot of the later stuff. You want the old scratched up early stuff on, what is it, Cameo? And then Seger got dropped by Cameo, or did Cameo close down? And then Seger had to go shop for a label, and that's how he ended up on Capitol. Well, that's it. And those prices right there, so I'm going to try to take advantage of that, that's for sure. Done with that one. Go to C and see what we have. Right there, the Kairos. So if you zoom in, you can see I'm going to start working right there by where my thumb's at and go down through here. Quite a bit in C. We got a page and a half of C's and D's. So the way Tim does it, they're categorized by group with the card behind them. It's hard to pass up some of these canned heats. I've got a lot of them. I think we covered, I got a little cough, so bear with me. We covered a lot of these canned heats in previous episodes. Some stuff's misfiled. There you go. So that's it. No Callier, Terry, Dottie Cambridge, or Little Carlton in that bin. This bin doesn't seem to have any of these going up to Caravels. Nope. So that's a dud. 3, it goes from Mariah Carey up to Carmen Eric. I can tell you right, maybe Carl Carlton, Little Carl Carlton, right there. Zoom in on that. So let's see if it's the same guy and see if we can find the Northern Soul. So I'm looking for Little Carl Carlton, Competition Ain't Nothing on Backbeat. Look at that, third one. Boom, we have a Northern Soul right there. How cool is that? So Northern Soul, Competition Ain't Nothing. Let's check out the condition. Oh, it's beat to hell. I would give it a good at best, but hey, let's see if there's another one in the stack. Something like that. I like the good start though. Yes, just because it's on Backbeat also, and it looks like a Backbeat promo. Once again, beat to hell, but maybe not. So I'm just liking it. Let's go through the rest and make sure there's not a reissue. Looks like he switched over to 20th Century Fox Records. Competition Ain't Nothing is the one track we're looking for. And a lot of these guys did switch labels. A lot happened between the 60s and 70s where these guys got swallowed up by big film companies like 20th Century Fox. But Everlasting Love, I know that song, and I think he had a pretty good hit with that. But they used to call him Little Carl Carlton, and that's who we're looking at. Once we get through all these, I go to the just random C's, so they won't have their own tab. So we could still find them there. Nothing in this one either. Just shows you how popular Carpenters were. They have their own bin. It's hard not to look through the cars. Now, James Carr, not Vicky Carr. James Carr, not Kathy Carr, would be Northern Soul. Great picture sleeve right there. I've got about 5 of them, and I don't want to lose track of my focus. So we're going to zip through the cars. Unless there's like a rare picture sleeve, we're going to pass through those. Nope. Gene Chandler, which I know everybody knows Duke of Earl, but the one on the Northern Soul that we're zeroing in on is actually Mr. Big Shot on Constellation. Let's see if they got it. They just roll out the dough. I'm looking for Gene Chandler. There Was Time. That's a good song. Or Mr. Big Shot. Groovy Situation. Duke of Earl I've got. Such a pretty thing. I'm not seeing it. Here, by hopefully mid-year, I'd get through the list A through Z. I don't know. Bobby Charles, LM. Bobby Charles Ray, Cheap Trick. All right, let's zero in here. So it looks like I'm through this page and on to the next page. So I forget my subscriber that sent me this name, but thank you very much. The Shamouts. Chubby Checker, and Chubby's got 2 at the discotheque on Cameo, and You Just Don't Know What to Do to Me on Parkway. That's a 350-pound record. And you know, this came out of the UK, so they're doing everything in pounds. I don't care. But let's look and see if we can find it. Just finishing up with Chubby Checker, and I was saying, I'm trying to look for basically at the discotheque, or You Just Don't Know What You Do to Me on Parkway. And I've been through this whole stack, and I got nothing. Just a lot of his regulars. Paloma Twist, Popeye, Slow Twistin', The Twist, The Return of the Twist, a little bit of everything. But we don't see any Northern Soul, so we'll move on. All right, so one of my favorite bands is The Church. So it's really hard for me to pass this up. Cinderella, not so much. So this looks really clean on the picture sleeve under the Milky Way. And I'm gonna pick that up because I don't think I have that. This looks real good. There you go. Can't pass up some Church. And there was a couple extra picture sleeves. I'll get them. I like the Church so much is because I saw them in East Lansing in November of '84 when they were unheard of before this song came out. 3 years later, it was all over MTV, and they looked exactly then like they did in this picture. Getting down to D. Clark, and that picked clean. Classics 4, 5. Thank God I got this list because it's keeping me organized. So I gotta believe Coasters have a Northern Soul hit. Sure enough, Crazy Baby on Atco. So here they are, the Coasters. Let's check them out. Poison Ivy, great song. I'm looking for Crazy Baby. It could be a B-side, so I don't want to miss it. Searching. Young Blood, another great. Yakety Yak we just talked about in last episode. That was a Boots Randolph version. Searching. Young Blood is a great one. Leon Russell. I think that was Concert for Bangladesh, where they reworked that with Charlie Brown. It's sort of a novelty song, but it was also very cool. Three Cool Cats. I think the Beatles did that one. So the Coasters were big. There's an oldies series. I'm a Hog for You with Charlie Brown. Again, Coasters, Charlie Brown. I'm a Hog for You. Again. And the one I'm looking for,
All right, Big Mac, large fry, large Coke.
Crazy Baby.
I'll be back. Later, Bobby.
Take care, man.
You too, buddy.
Okay, I don't see it. I'm looking for Crazy Baby. And I'm checking every B-side because I don't want to miss it. Poison Ivy, I'm a Hog for You. You think, oh, Poison Ivy, they might have had another B-side on another pressing. Bad Detective, Charlie Brown, Three Cool Cats. Tim's got these priced. He likes the Coasters. And what I like about Tim, he prices, if he feels a band is worthy, then they get priced a little higher. And I think Yakety Yak, Zing with the String of My Heart. The Coasters, Yakety Yak, Zing with the String of My Heart. Yakety Yak, the Coasters. You know, I'll be the one that would miss it because there was an odd. Searching. Youngblood. Try that technique. Poison Ivy, great song. It was covered by the Rolling Stones, I know. Coasters, Poison Ivy. Who else did Poison Ivy? Researchers or somebody did it. It was always played on the oldies channel. Great song. Gonna need an ocean calamine lotion. Oh my God, don't get me started. All right, what are we looking for? Crazy baby. Anato. Where are you? Snake in the bookworm. The climb. The climb. We're running out of space. Shadow Nose. Three Cool Cats. Charlie Brown. Down in Mexico. Little Egypt. No Crazy Baby. Eddie Cochran. Summertime Blues. Looks like an original release maybe. I'm picking that up. And so no luck on the coasters. So let's get another box. This one goes back here. And then this one comes up here. Simple as that. Okay, so looking at this one, I don't see any Cofield, Price, Collins and Collins, Roger Collins, Will and Willpower Collins, or Colt for that matter. Let's get another box. We can skip Nat King Cole, we can skip Phil Collins, and let's go to this one here. All right, see what we got. Okay, we're into the Commodores, and they have a Northern Soul in it. And it is called, where is it? The Zoo on Mo West. Let's see if we can find it. Mo West, it's got a unique label, so I'm just gonna go fast and see if I can find it in here. Because I see a lot of Motown. This is where you need to know your labels. Motown. So theoretically, you could skip every regular Motown. You're looking for an oddball, Mo West. I think something unique coming up. Okay, that's the Yesteryear series. Odd chance it would be on there. What's it called again? The Zoo. Got some cool jazz playing in the background. Hope you guys can see. I'm using that chest mount camera again. I'm sort of getting used to it. Still with Wonderland. You know, Commodores, story has it they were the last ones at Motown that didn't really make it big, so they just said bring them up front and let's start recording. Next thing you know, Lionel Richie broke out. Brick House is my favorite song of theirs. I'd love to hear this one. The Zoo on Mo West, which was, I think, their unique West Coast label. Seems to be very plain, not as cool as the original Motown label. I don't see it, unless I'm wrong on the label thing, and it looks exactly like a regular Motown label, but I almost 100% sure. Some of you guys out there know that. One thing about my UK friends, Britain, Scotland, Wales, wherever you're at over there, you guys know your stuff. So I have no problem with you correcting me or chiming in. 3 times a lady, 2 hot to trot. That's it. As we've looked at before, their 2 Northern Souls are, well, should be easy, right? The contours, Baby Hit and Run on Tamla, and Just a Little Misunderstanding. Let's do a quick look here. First I look at the purse, Jay Giles. There's just a little misunderstanding. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get that. Okay. First I look at the purse. Shake Cherie. What's the other one called? Baby Hit and Run. Do You Love Me? Everybody knows that one from Dirty Dancing. And I've got a copy of it at home. Shake Cherie, written by Berry Gordy. Do You Love Me? Written by Berry Gordy. A lot of people forget that he wrote a lot of these hits. All right, that's it for the contours. I got 2 Northern Souls out of that. So just a little misunderstanding. And what was that movie about a bunch of British kids that made it big singing? I think that song was featured, The Pretenders or Replacements or one of those, something like that. Came out about 20 years ago. All right, we're up to the CRs, and I did pick up an Alice Cooper, a double 2 for $18. Back to school's out. I just couldn't resist. $3, and it's in cherry shape. Who are we looking for? They don't have any CRs. So C.O. Coulter, Phil Coulter, Cooper, Cooperettes, C.O.R., C.O.U., Hasby, Elvis Costello. Let's take a look at Elvis Costello. So there's no CUs in the bins from this list, but they could be in the general miscellaneous at the end. So we'll look through all these again. Let's move on to the D's. Where it gets a little crazy, I got 2 miscellaneous C's, 3 bins. This is where I get in trouble. I think that movie was The Commitments, and I think they did a soundtrack to it. So that's what I was thinking of, not The Pretenders, not The Replacement, The Commitments. Good movie. So I'm halfway through these C's. These can be a little tricky. Actually, it's quicker to flip through like this in a lot of ways. You just got to recognize age, labels, names. I'm in the C's and I'm looking for Northern Soul. I should know it by heart, but I don't. That's 500 names, 500 bands, 500 individual records. You got to have a list. There's no way. Public Airlines. Interesting stuff. Carlton, little Carl Carlton, we already found one of his. And at this point, Tony Clark, hang on a second. Tony Clark. What's, that one rings a bell. Tony Clark Landslide is what I'm, This Heart of Mine? Nope. The Entertainer. All right. At least I recognized the name. There he is, The Entertainer again. We're looking for something called Landslide, Tony Clark on Chess Records. Maybe that's a unique label. Yeah. All right, let's keep moving, man. Gotta find some more Northern Soul before my head drops off. Thanks for the list, guys. Thanks for the UK love and support. Comment, subscribe. I'd love to do a Northern Soul record store tour. Just get a bus of people from the UK and start in Detroit, hit the Motown Museum, and just hit every little small record shop between Detroit and Chicago. Stop at Michael Jackson's childhood home. End up at Chess Records and Record Row, and like a dozen record stores in between. Just call ahead and have them lay out all their stuff. Just like a dozen people. And, you know, find some good nighttime entertainment. Hopefully an R&B band or an R&B review or something. That would be pretty cool. Charlie Brown, the Compton Brothers. Nope, not on there. Contours, Commodores, Crow, Bob Crosby, Bing's brother. All right, let's see what we got. We got 2 more till we get to the D's. The nitty gritty here. Detroit Bob, we're looking for Northern Soul. I got 2 C's left, and then we get into the D's. And yeah, there's quite a few D's, and we don't make it today, we don't make it. So the way Tim does it, if you don't have your own bin, then you just get thrown in at the end and sort of like the miscellaneous bin. So cashmeres. It's a little bit harder. Cadets. And this is where one will show up and I'll miss it and you guys will go back and get it. That's okay. I will come back. Cardigans. I'm trying to get in there as much as I can with this lens. Baby Carol. Clark. Connie Clark. Not Claudine. Karen Chandler. The Chandlers. Lorraine Chandler. Jean Chandler. Jean Chandler and Barbara Ackland. The company. You guys would love it over here. This is a 45 room. It's dedicated to 45s. And you can just spend as much time in here as you want. They don't hassle you. The guy's name is Tim. He comes here, I think, every day from 12 to 3. And they got new stuff in all the time, so it's not like it's the same old stuff. Guy, James Carr. That's what I want to know. At Gold Wax. Now, Tim's got it marked as a $4 record. Man, I almost want to pick it up, even though it's not on the Northern Soul label. I'm going to do it. Down to the nitty gritty here. This is where fatigue starts to set in, and you start making some mistakes in missing stuff. So let's hope I can get through the C's. Maybe save the D's for next time. I'm wiped out, man. So I'm gonna call it a day. I might check Bob Dylan, and I got through all the C's, so I'm happy with that. And we'll save the D's till next time. Cheers. There's some cool stuff in here, from Beatles boxes to racks to this old vintage RCA 45 RPM player. Look at that. I dare say that was not a peel. Getting ready to check out.
Yeah. It's hard work then too.
Spend hundreds of dollars on
It paid off, is what it did. I'll get him real quick and then I'll do your table.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it said 3 for $5 if they're unless they're otherwise marked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I know you're pretty good at this.
Oh, yeah.
You've done this once or twice, right?
A couple of times.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. That's just a sleeve stuff.
Yeah. Okay. That's yeah. I just found a couple of loose sleeves, so.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a 45 without the sleeve,
Mm-hmm.
and it's harder to find the sleeve.
It is.
Yeah. So if I see something good, I pick it up.
Right. That's why we sell them like that.
Well, I'm getting close to 10,000 in my collection, so
Man.
I got to get organized. But this list is helping me.
Is it?
Oh yeah. Some
Good.
guy from England sent it to me. He goes, "Go for these records." So
England. Wow.
yeah, they're big into 45s over there.
Are they?
Yeah.
I believe it. I think
Yeah.
I've heard something like that before too.
Yeah.
And then 3, 6, 9, 12, 16, 20. Well, $30.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Go ahead there. You see the new movie yet?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was good.
You liked it?
Yeah.
I loved it too.
I think. Oh, you saw it too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think it works for any age group.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be a hardcore Dylan fan. You can bring your girlfriend there.
Yeah.
It works really good.
Yeah, that's
and
what I did.
And I thought that I took my wife there, and she's like, that was a good movie. And I don't even know anything about Bob Dylan.
That's what she said too.
Yeah.
But at some point she was like, she said she doesn't know anything about Bob Dylan. She was like, why is this movie taking so long? And I'm like, it's not. Like, this is part of the story. And she's like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
it was a good 2.5 hours, I went
was.
before dinner. I made sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks a lot, Chase. We'll see you next time. Yep. I'll tag you. This episode will probably drop next Friday. So RockMine, check it out.
Keep an eye on it.
All right, cool. All right, so that list was invaluable, and I got out of there for $30. I'm actually feeling pretty good about that. Definitely discipline is the way to do it. I would just go in there and buy hundreds of dollars of records before, and there's no way you're gonna just zero in on Northern Soul. But I got 3 legit Northern Souls, so I'm happy. I got a bag of records. RPM is what they call it. There it is, just a plain little bag there. But I'll get this in my backpack, go home, pull the pork, and then head out to West End Tavern. Cheers. All right, Detroit Bob back again. Another trip up to RPM Records. Boy, was that awesome. Remember, I started with this Northern Soul Top 500, and it was a great list to really zero in and focus, but it wasn't alphabetized. So I was all over the map and color coding, and it was just a zoo once you got into the record store. So I thought, I'll get a cleaned up version of it. Of course, I got Al Wilson, Northern Soul's most hard to find record, Do I Love You? Number 1. You think I'll find it? You never know. Still looking for Beatles 498, but this is great because this one is alphabetized, and I can't remember the guy's name who sent it to me, but appreciate it. Much love there. And I just got done doing the whole letter C, and guess what? I found some Northern Soul. So let's go through this little satchel of records and see what I got in there, and we'll go through them one by one. And I did good on the stuff in between. So let's review all that. We'll sum it all up, and we'll come back here for a gem of the week. Detroit Bob back at you. Now let's remember, I started with this. So Northern Soul Top 500, written by Kevin Edwards, published in Goldmine Soul Supply Limited in 2000. So it gives a definition, and someone sent me that the last, February sent me this, and I tried to make sense of it. But once I got into the record store, it all fell apart. So the top one is Frank Wilson. Obviously, there's only 1 or 2 in existence. I started highlighting, but I still used the list. And then I got organized, and I moved on to this, which was cleaner, but this version didn't have the name of the label on it. And it basically still ranked in value. But I tried to do, a blue for Motown, and someone laughed because I had Frank Wilson. But then once I went to this organized version, and basically this is A through Z, and I went a couple episodes all the way to B, and now I'm on C. So this episode of RockMine, we got a lot of Northern Soul in C, starting with the Kairos, and I'll show you what I found just by going through the C bin at RPM. Everybody says, well, where's RPM? Well, if you look at the state of Michigan, it's at least the lower peninsula is shaped like a hand. There's the thumb. Here's Detroit. Here's where I grew up, right out here, just west of Detroit by a stone's throw. And RPM is up here in Traverse City, Michigan, which has a bay that comes off, 2 bays that come off Lake Michigan. RPM Records, and this is the Upper Peninsula. So in this corridor here is really the industrial corridor of Michigan. And then once you get up here, it's all northern boreal forest. RPM Records, Traverse City, Michigan. Why do I like them so much? They have that dedicated 45 room. And Tim, if you remember, we interviewed him way back. But the staff, Chase and Riley, and even the dog Leland, the owner, and I used to know the owner's son who passed a few years ago. Great guy. He spent his life in the stereo and record business. So check this out if you ever get up there. But that's where I got these records. In this episode, I just worked through C, from C, the beginning of C to the end of C, alphabetically, and I was very disciplined. So let's show you what I got. Detroit Bob, and you can check all these listings out on Discogs right there, listed behind. As you look at my collection, you can see I got 10,000 records, about 7,500 now listed for sale. So check that out. But let's get, when you're looking for Northern Soul, you're not gonna pass up the Church. And why? Well, they're a great band, and I happened to see them in Michigan, of all places, back in 1984 in East Lansing, Michigan, at a place called Rick's Bar and Cafe. Now, this was tricky to find because it's a Canadian pressing. So you got to look for that Ontario down there. But it popped up on Discogs. I don't have it. It's a nice, clean, very good copy. And it's amazing what you're finding when you're looking the Northern Soul list. So C was treating me good, and right into it, I found a Church record. So that's what that's all about. Am I buying it? Yes, it did have the company sleeve on it. So, you know, that's just an extra. And look at that. So it's a good start to a good day. Let's keep moving. Next up, Eddie Cochran. And I'm like, you know, and it's not Northern Soul, it's freaking rockabilly. But let's take a look at this one. I didn't have this in my collection, and, you know, I couldn't find it. So it's an odd pressing. I ended up just putting it in there and putting it down as a label variant. But if someone else can find this pressing outside of Discogs or in Discogs, that would be great. It's got the little sticker. Someone had it, got ring wear. I think I gave it a very good on the condition. But the B-side, I'll take it. Love Again by Eddie Cochran. So there you go. Looking for Northern Soul, picking up a rockabilly any day of the week. Carl Carlton. I'm looking for little Carl Carlton. And definitely he's on the Northern Soul list. And you know what? Sometimes you find them, sometimes you don't. So this is what I did find. It's I Want to Be Your Main Squeeze. The one I'm looking for is called Competition Ain't Nothing. But this screams old. Condition's a little rough. But let's take a look at it. Well, I'm going to call it a very good in terms of condition. This label has been stained, like it literally has been set in some white wine or some red wine or something. It's a mono. It's got all tons of age. You know, condition wise, yeah, it's beat to hell, but it's a promo. It's stereo. Came out in 1973. It's got a median value of $12.35. Also, I Want to Be Your Main Squeeze on the B side. Take a look at that. And that's probably more true, but you can see that sort of rose red bled through. But look at that backbeat record. So I'm getting close. It's not on the Northern Soul 500, but it's an artist that is. So it's in the wings, if you will. So it's definitely worth picking up. $12.35 median value. I listed it for sale right away. It's a placeholder until I get one better, but hey, I'm happy. There's always hits and misses, and this one just looked interesting, and it looked like a, well, it probably is. It is a demo, it's a promo, and it's a $1 record. So it's currently listed for $1.44. I got very good plus on the condition, stamp on label. Matter of fact, I think I had bought one there before. So, you know, once again, I start playing my hunches, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Searching the seas, and I'm looking for Northern Soul. So what do I find? Well, there's a J.J. Cale, and if you know anything about him, he's not a Northern Soul guy, but he wrote some songs. The Breeze by Lynyrd Skynyrd, and I think he wrote After Midnight, which Clapton was famous for doing. Crazy Mama, I thought, well, maybe that's the Stones version, but I don't think it is. But what a cool record. It's very clean. I got it in very good condition. It's probably even better than that. I would say very good plus. I listed it for sale, and I mentioned a stamp on the label. That might be a version of like a cutout, but instead of a hole, they put a black bar. So clean record and pretty good pickup. I don't know what the value is, but I really don't care. So there you go, JJ Cale, Crazy Mama. And on the B side, Don't Go to Strangers. My list is keeping me organized, and that's that little Carl Carlton that we picked up earlier. At some point, he dropped little on that promo, but everything I've gotten is a C so far. I'm the most disciplined I've been, just because I'm sticking to this list, but I'm finding all sorts of goodies in between. So there we go. I know more about new wave, 80s, 70s, and even 90s onward than I do about Northern Soul, but that's the beauty of it. It's an education in American history, Americana, R&B, blues, soul. You know, this is my wheelhouse. Detroit to Chicago, down to Memphis is where you find all this good stuff. All right, next up, the Cranberries. And what is it? Well, it's something called When You're Gone. And who cares about the Cranberries, eh? Well, it turns out, since the lead singer has passed, these are becoming sort of valuable. And I sold one. This is side one, When You're Gone. And Free to Decide is on the second side. There's some wear on the B side. I rated it as very good after all. Median value on this is $7.70, and I paid like $1 for it. So am I going to pick it up? Yeah, I already listed it. It's on Discogs. You can look it up on Discogs. Right there's the address, and it's for sale right now. I sold one of I think Zombie I sold for $20. So hey, good pickup. All right, what's next? Well, let's see. The Cult, Fire Woman. Look at that. And She Sells Sanctuary. Say that fast 3 times. Is that their big one? I remember that. It was huge. But Fire Woman gets a lot of play on New Wave, on the SiriusXM New Wave channel. It's a 1989 release, specialty. Boy, I'm going to get tongue-tied today. Single specialty pressing. And it's a $5 record. Once again, picking it up for $1. So that's sort of cool. I'm not going to pass something like that up. And what's on the B side? Well, let's see. Automatic Blues. Next one you think would be huge, right? Crowded House. Let's zoom out on that one. Very theatric. These guys were from New Zealand, I believe. And there they are. Don't Dream It's Over. It was huge. It was so huge they probably made 1 million of these. So it turns out it's a $4 record. But hey, I got a picture sleeve version of it. Pretty cool, pretty clean. Very good plus on the sleeve and the record. So I rated it, or I listed it. Median value is $388. It's for sale now at Discogs, so check it out. Detroit Bob, where's that Northern Soul? I haven't found any yet, but I did find Marshall Crenshaw. Interesting, he's got some Detroit roots. I think he went to West Bloomfield High School. And what was that Beatlemania tour? And I think he played John Lennon in the theatrical production of that was going around in the 80s, where they were doing all the Beatles songs. Turns out he's a pretty good songwriter. His first album is really, really good. This was a 1983 MTV darling, I call it. And Whenever You're on My Mind, great song, clean copy. Came out in 83. It's $12.95 in mint condition. This one's very good plus on the sleeve too. So I listed it for sale. And I'm like, God, this is sort of fun. I'm finding some C's because of Crenshaw, of course. But I'm still looking for some Northern Soul. Right, well, you find some picture sleeves. In RPM, they'll charge you like $1 for a picture sleeve. And I'm like, I'm picking this up because it's in really good shape. And then I found some of these under the Milky Way. And I don't think this is the Canadian release, but I found 3 of these. And I'm like, I've got a lot of these singles that don't have a sleeve. And I've gotten to the point in my collecting where, yeah, I'll pick up a sleeve for $1 if it's in good shape. So I have picture sleeves. I have some framed from a long time ago, but I have picture sleeves now that will go with singles. And when you reunite the two, it's a much more valuable record. So there you go. All right, you always sneak into the next letter, right? Here, what's this? Well, I went up into the D's. Bob Dylan and Bob Seger, I always check, which in Tim's organization system is under D&S. So I want you, a very early hit for Dylan. I think the Byrds covered it, or was it Cher? Somebody did. But the Tom Thumb Blues is the B-side, which I think is a better song, actually. Both featured prominently in the new Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown, which I recommend, by the way. We mentioned it, I think. It's got ring wear, it's got a stamp on a label, but that's a $5 record. In this condition, it's probably more like 6 or 7 as a very good. High-end mint would be, that's probably the sleeve it came in. You know, I could be wrong, but just Columbia, classic Dylan. You got to pick those up. Where's my Northern Soul? So far, I found Carl Carlton, but I haven't found Little Carl Carlton. But what's this? James Carr. James Carr is on the Northern Soul list. That's what I want to know on Gold Wax. But boy, am I getting close, right? Here's Gold Wax and here's James Carr. Just the wrong song. But you know what? I'll pick it up anyways. It's sort of a placeholder. Ends up being a decent record, high end. This is a very good plus with a cutout hole on condition, and high end on something like this. There's your cutout hole, ring wear. It might be very good. I might have overgraded it a little bit on that. But this came out in 1968 on Gold Wax. You don't see this label very often. So James Carr, I don't know a lot about him, but I know he's got a Northern Soul. And his Northern Soul is called That's What I Want to Know. So this is sort of like a shoulder James Carr. It's the one that's left or right of the one that I want. So I'm going to pick it up. I think I paid, what, $4 for it. So I pay a little bit more if it's a Northern Soul artist, just because I want it for the learning experience. Getting down to the nitty gritty. I'm running out of records. I got 4 left, but here it is. Yes. Yes, it is. Little Carl Carlton. Competition ain't nothing. And it's got some writing on the label. It almost looks like French writing, but $3, number 17. And this is a legit Northern Soul record. It's Competition Ain't Nothing on Backbeat. Remember, we had that promo earlier, but this is the real deal. It's a $23 record. And Discogs came out in 1968, U.S. 7-inch vinyl single, once again on Backbeat. It's got writing on the label. It's got sticker on the label. It's got scratch. It's got scuffs. I rated it as good plus. It might be a good, but I'll guarantee you this baby sounds great. And I'm going to take a chance to look it up on Spotify and jam on it. So there you go. This is in the running for Gem of the Week. Let's see if it makes it. I got 3 records left. Can you say no to Alice Cooper? Check this out. Wow, 18. And what's this American Pie label all about? Well, it's sort of an oldies label, but it's almost always a twofer. What's on the B side? Well, could be one of his biggest hits, School's Out. So are you going to pick that up? Absolutely. Turns out it's a $5 record, median value, high value $13.44. It's near mint. This thing has still got that sort of dust from the original envelope, and you just can't say no to something like that. So I could sell it. I did list it. It's for sale on Discogs right now. So if I don't sell it, I'm going to put it in my jukebox, because I think 18's his best song. You know, really, really early Bob Ezrin on that, and great song. Well, there you go. It's not Northern Soul, but you can't say no to that. Running out of room, right? No! We still got two just a little misunderstandings by the Contours. And do I have another one? Yeah, I've got several copies of these babies. But these are like $6.50 median value, even in sort of a beat up, very good condition. And the labels, these were loved and they were played. So, you know, I'm not going to get too worried about condition on these. These would sound great on a turntable. There you got sticker residue. You got ring wear. You got a cutout hole. A lot of these had cutout holes. Isn't that funny? So I think it was in that movie, The Commitments, that they really nailed this song. And I got to give a big shout out to my UK fans. They're 20% of our audience now. And Northern Soul is keeping me organized. I'm learning a lot. And it's getting to me to where I want to go. The beauty of it is I can just pick up where I left off. And we'll be doing, next time I go to Michigan, up to RPM, we're going to do letter D. And stay focused. And I'm going to work all the way through Z. So every episode's going to have a little different flair. We're going to do our regular episodes too. We got one coming up in Chicago. We got another one. I'm going back to a sort of a used furniture place that's got some records for me. I've got one coming up here in Crown Point, in this area, in the region. So don't go anywhere. RockMine, Discogs is where you can find my collection and buy a piece of the RockMine. Subscribe if you like it. Let's go see what the gem of the week is. All right, the name of the show is RockMine. We're back with our gem of the week, and it's Little Carl Carlton. Competition ain't nothing. And I'll tell you what, I love how he drops the G on that. So you got nothing with the apostrophe at the end. And I like that. I got some southern roots. I got some hillbilly in me. My mom used to drop her G's once in a while and go into that southern slang. But a lot of R&B groups do it. And a lot of R&B titles do it, and it makes for a great song when you don't have to use that G, which sort of gets in the way. So it rhymes with a lot of stuff too. Dylan did it a lot too. We got a sticker. We got an autograph. We got a great B-side called Three-Way Love. It's a well-loved record. I'm going to play the hell out of it, and I'm going to sell it too. So if you want to buy it, it's for sale right now on Discogs. That's Detroit Bob /users /Detroit Bob. You can figure that out, right? Bottom line is RockMine's close to 800 subscribers. We got to get 1,000 to get a little bit of money. I can dump back into the production cost, which aren't a lot. We're going to Chicago. We're going back to Hebron. We're going to go back up to RPM in Michigan. We're going to continue with letter D. Northern Soul, shout out to the UK guys, which is 20% of my audience now. You guys are telling me about this stuff and telling me how to find it, where to find it, and you're also pointing out the ones that I miss. So subscribe if you haven't already, and tell your UK buddies about it. And we're going to really focus on that, but we're going to pick up other gems along the way, occasional LP cassette or even a CD once in a while. But we're really focused on 45s because that's really the essence of the American explosion in pop, blues, rock, and soul was in 1949 where they came out with that cool, nifty little 45, that small, lightweight, that radio stations gobbled up, and it just sounds so good coming out of those deep, wide grooves. And you know what? Most of those LP collections were just 45 singles all bundled up anyway. So you get to pick your own, and you always got a freebie on the second side. So love for the 45, love for Northern Soul, love for USA and UK, and this great music that we can share together on RockMine. We'll see you next Friday. Stick around. We're going back to Michigan, Chicago. We're going to go back to Hebron down in Indiana, and a few surprises along the way. Cheers.